Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Lawler here, as always. RLCS World Championship 2025 has officially wrapped. Day 5 done and dusted. A couple things I'm going to address. Obviously, there's some announcements that went down, both for the 2026 season as well as new seasons of Rocket League and some of those things. That is not this video. I will address that tomorrow on Monday. So if you guys are looking for what is next, tune in tomorrow. Make sure you guys hit like, subscribe, notifications so you don't miss out on that. Today's video is specifically how did the World Championship conclude? What happened? How did the matches go? All that kind of stuff. So just want to get that out of the way real quick. We're going to go through the brackets step by step to the best of our ability. I got to find out how I cannot reveal this all at once. Easier said than done. So we're going to break this down game by game. Obviously, we can't use Liquipedia because if we do, it will spoil the matches. So you guys are going to see these revealed through the prediction bracket. Shout out to Cody V, by the way, all the time when he does these. But game one, and one that's going to probably surprise you, maybe not. We did see these teams obviously compete previously in the upper match where they were knocked down. This was kind of what created that whole upset. But historically, K-Corp has never lost to Ultimates in a best of 7, and that continues here. It's actually a 4-0 sweep. They held Ultimates to 3 goals. We want to talk about different levels of play. And K-Corp brought it. We joke about the inevitability and what they can do, and they do it again here. We talk about the separation and the differences between some of these teams, probably this entire season. People ask me, hey, who wins top 8? Who's going to take it? I say, hey, everybody has a 12.5% chance. Everybody is an equal. I think when it comes down to Championship Sunday, there's a couple factors that really come into play. Experience, how you prepare, things you do on the day, all that kind of stuff. And I think K-Corp is probably one of the best prepared. I think Farah and that team do a really good job of locking in and making sure they know what to do. I can't articulate enough that the importance of winning and closing out series as quickly as possible, and what that does for World Championship days, especially when you're in lower matches or even semifinals when you're sitting cold. You know, these teams, whoever comes out of it, do get a little bit of an advantage because they've played a series, although they're waiting an hour between their next match. Same thing applies to these teams. You know, Falcons and Energy are sitting here waiting, and maybe they have a little bit of warm-up, but most of the time you get shuttled in, you play for a half hour, if that, to warm up on stage, and then you go. So coming out of the gate swing is really important. I think K-Corp is one of the teams that does that extremely well nowadays. And it shows. Unfortunately for Ultimates, they couldn't get anything going. Ultimates got completely suffocated. K-Corp continues to put on pressure, find demos. A very disruptive game. Tao making a statement for a potential MVP at this point. Like, he looked so dang good. But yeah, across the board, Casey doing a really good job showing out. Ultimates, I don't think many of us were surprised. I think a majority of our chat was like 80-20, if not more, on that one. Next series, probably one of the most anticipated of the day. Can Wildcard continue to do it? Unfortunately for them, top 6 is where their reign ends. And that being said, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 1-0, 3-2. All 1-goal games. GK, the better team. What I predicted. But I think there is something to be said about OCE. I think the mentality, the thing that I've been talking about when I was very harsh on them coming into this tournament, was that they need to believe something mentality-wise has to change for them to believe that they can truly actually go and win. That happened. After they got the 3-0 in their first match in groups, and then they got another one, I think that switched. We can go toe-to-toe against these teams. We can beat them. We are fully capable of doing so. Banana Head and the rest of the guys, I think, looked really, really solid. Offense was sustained and threatening. Not just against GK, but even against when they played Falcons. My curiosity, though, is these teams are notorious, especially in OCE, for making changes. They do this like big shuffling of what is going on in the off season. I mean, NA does it as well, but yeah, it is crazy to see what the results are going to be and how that stuff is going to play out. I do think there is something to be said about GK and EWC. They took second place. But like, GK has proven, like, hey, don't sleep on us. We are a good team. Archie continues to be underrated. Not anymore. Oli, I think his stocks completely skyrocket now as well. Like, a top 4 at the World Championship, coming in as no longer a wild card type mentality like they did Oxygen just a year ago, but coming in as a team that's like, hey, we may be the quote low seed for EU, but we are fully capable and we can go and win it. That being said, bracket wise, this is insane. this does feel a little bit more freeing. Who knows what would have happened if NIP was somewhere else and how things would have played out. But that is the beauty of the World Championship. That's why we run it back. That's why we do it again. We cannot play what ifs in this circumstance. We can only control what's in front of us and our own fate. And GK does exactly that. So kudos to GK. All 1-goal games. A lot of praise to both teams, but it is GK that wins in every single 1-goal game that matters the most. The only win coming from a 3-minute overtime in Game 3 from Wildcard after the timeout. Tough loss. Tough loss. We have Falcons versus KC. Wasn't sure which version we were going to get. And it starts off great. KC gets Game 1, and it's a 4-0. They come out and absolutely punch Falcons in the mouth. That being said, Falcons is not one I think to go lightly. I think Falcons, the biggest concern when playing them is finding ways to make sure that you can disrupt their pace. K-Corp's demos were not as effective. A lot of times when they were cutting through mid, they could not connect on Falcons, and Falcons immediately comes back, but wins in a very close OT. We talked about it. I'm like, if Falcons doesn't win this, I've got some concerns, because when Falcons goes down early, they do tend to mentally slip. They keep it close throughout the series, so much in fact that they immediately win the next one in another 1-goal game after winning a 3-minute and 39-second OT. And then K-Corp responds, and we're like, okay, it's back and forth. That was probably the most important match of this series. I'm curious what's going to happen. And unfortunately, the narrative that everybody's going to keep from this series, Falcons then wins the next 2 matches 1-0 and 1-0. And K-Corp hit the crossbar not once, not twice, not 3 times, probably 4 or 5 times in an individual game, and just could not land it. Crossbar disease, as chat is saying, I don't know how else to explain it. K-Corp just could not land their shots. And sometimes that is the way that it goes. As unfortunate as it may be, some days are off days, and those are the difference makers between this or not. What it does do is, now that there is no French left, the conversation becomes, will there be any Europeans left for the first time in a grand final for the RLCS World Championship? Energy and GK. Energy took Game 1 1-0. 3-minute OT. Another 3-minute OT. Very close down to the wire. Started seeing BMO hit up. Started to see the rotation. Started seeing the pressure. Started to see the anticipation that they were playing with. GK not able to break out of their half. Energy wins Game 2. It's 3-1. Looking convincing. Game 3, Energy does it again. Game 4. They close it out 4-0 in a clean sweep, in and out. So much, in fact, that it felt like the desk was killing time and doing whatever they can to fill because of how quick the series went, that production wasn't ready for the grand final. Energy looked dominant. Didn't think twice about this series. They said, this is just something that's in our way. Get it over with. Let's move on. They didn't even celebrate, really, after they won. It was pretty lackluster. They just went, yep, business as usual. Next, let's do what actually matters. So NRG absolutely dominated and looked so fast, so quick, so aggressive. Most aggressive I've seen Energy look in a while, which is what we needed. Playing offense, not a defensive team. Good to see it from them. Unfortunately for GK, that ends it. But what that does do is, for the first time ever, give us a non-EU final. And of course it happens in France. The area that is pushing forward Rocket League like nobody's business. It was insane. We've talked about this before, where we've seen teams win this series. This was Ultimates, by the way, when we talked about this. In the very first major this year, Ultimates did win a series like this and went into the final. And it looked like when they won this series, it was like, holy shoot, we did the unthinkable. We did it. Oh my God. And the mentality needed to be, hey guys, we're not done yet. We gotta get back on stage at 25 minutes, 30 minutes to do what actually matters. And Energy looked at that. They had the posture, they had the experience. They've got Atomic, who's had to avoid this situation how many times? Beast Mode, who's been so close. Like, the stars were aligning, and they're like, can we finally do it against a team that we know is probably rated best in the world right now? Can we finally do it when it matters most? This series was great. Both teams playing very, very well. Game 1 is a nail-biter. It is Energy that takes the first one 3-2. Falcons responds quickly with a 1-0 game. Energy was making them work for it. The biggest thing I noticed from this series, and I talked about it with my chat, highly recommend twitch.tv/Lawler. Come hang out with us. Check the VOD. I talked about it a lot. Energy needed to find a way to control the pace. I told them the thing I do not want to do against Falcons is allow them to continue to play their clean rotation, deep rotation, fast, aggressive type play style. When we're on offense, don't be afraid to trap the ball and force a 50. Don't be afraid to hold it a little bit longer. Don't be afraid to make sure we change things up a bit, because we need to control the narrative here. Not only did Energy play quick to the ball, not only did they play fast to it, not only did they do everything that they needed to, they did it assertively, and it allows them to get a very big win in game number 2, or in game number 3. 13-second OT right after the kickoff. They find one. You saw, I think it was Clears, I forget who it was exactly, rotate left side to find a demo instead of rotating back post to support. It's off the kickoff. You're low boost. I get trying to demo that next guy, but he's out of the play. You got to cover for your other two because you had a double commit on defense. It gets slotted right side after a weird pinch, and it's a free shot open net. Big deal. Big deal. We then go to the next game, and Energy does not look back. They win game 4. They win game 5. They close it out. 1-goal games across the board. All 1-goal games talks about how close it is, but Energy, you could tell there was something different. Every time they needed to come up with a goal, normally when they're hitting crossbars and posts, Atomic's slotting it off of a demo. Daniel's rotating through, finding a demo. Atomic's putting it under the bar this time. Beast mode hitting ridiculous angles on double touches. Something was different about Energy today, and we have alluded to the culture at NA being a problem. Rank 2s is not a good place to grind. It is different when we're in Europe. They boot camp a little bit longer. They grind a little bit harder. Atomic addresses that in their vlog video where he's like, hey man, when we come back, no excuses. We've got to be the change. We have to do something different. For the first time, I think ever, all 3 players on Energy are in the like top 10 in 1v1s and 2s. Grinding. It is purely a work ethic. It is purely a deterministic thing that changes the winner. I think the biggest thing to discuss is that teams no longer is it a skill. Everybody is... all these teams are insanely talented. Work ethic, proper routine, all those things, the intangibles that these guys can actually like control, the things that they can do outside of the game, the teamwork, the camaraderie, all that stuff I think is the difference maker in Energy. 2 years, they finally get it done. It's also the first time for an NA team, the org, the OG org, one of at least, after picking up Kings of Urban, get their 2nd World Championship title. Last time in Season 8. So Energy does it again, and they're rewarded for it. Massive congratulations. A couple things of note. The LAN in general, production was great. I think Blast has done a very, very good job. We'll talk about the changes they're making to the RLCS 2026 season. That actually starts in November, very early in tomorrow's video. But the crowd was incredible. Lyon, the French people, even though after K-Corp and Vitality and everybody was knocked out, they stuck around. They celebrated. They even chanted merci after the event was over, saying thank you to the people who put on the show. Like, it was very well celebrated. So massive round of applause to the venue and the event, and they're going to be rewarded with Major 2 in Paris. If you guys want to hear more about what's going down in 2026, make sure you guys check out the video tomorrow. But that is going to do it for me. As always, appreciate day 5 results and the excitement that you guys all bring. This just today is insane. Massive round of applause to everybody here watching, hanging out, and supporting the channel. But that is going to do it for today's video. As always, I'm Lawler. Again, I try to be your one-stop shop for all things Rocket League. If you guys have any additional questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comments down below. And with that said, I'm out of here. Like, subscribe, notifications. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.